Hi, this is Frank Peters, and this is Phantom here helping me out in the studio. And I've done just about 500 audio podcasts. I use Adobe Audition to get a really good sound out of it. I've learned a lot, and I'd like to share some of my techniques. Today, we're going to focus on actually editing the faux pas in human voice in a podcast recording. Typically, we're doing this over Skype, and lots of opportunities to improve the quality of sound. It's time-consuming. We're going to go through and listen to the file. We're only going to do a sample of edits today. Shall we get started? All right, let's open up a file here. And I've got a file all prepared. And let's take a look at it. Well, the first thing I notice as I look at this file is it's only 7 minutes. I use a rule of thumb of every 10 minutes turns out to be basically an hour in editing. So if you have a 45-minute audio podcast, you're looking at a good 4 hours from noise reduction to final compression. That's a long time. So anyway, we gotta do our editing as quickly as we can. So now, what I've done, which you'll never do, is go into the file in advance, and what I've done is set up all these markers to identify, in this case, a click. Let's go see it, and let's play it, see if we can hear it.
Hi, this is Frank Peters.
Well, maybe it's hard to hear in the recording, but it's easy to see when I turn on the spectral frequency display. And just to highlight it, just like that, I use my marquee tool, or I could just use my selection tool to highlight the entire little click in my voice. Now, what I'm going to do is use Auto Heal to remove that, just like that. And now when I play it, it's
Hi, this is Frank Peters.
completely repaired. Now I'm just going to do that all day long. I've got my next click identified. Oh, it's a small one. So just an alternate technique is, instead of using the selection tool and capturing everything, right? Capturing all of that, I only want to deal with the actual problem itself. So I use the marquee tool to identify that and go in and use Auto Heal. Now you'll notice that I've got a function key F5 associated with Auto Heal. That's so important because it just saves me so many clicks. Hit the function key and go on to my next click. Here's another one. I'll stay with the marquee tool, F5, and look at a beautiful repair and moving, quite quickly. Let's go see a breath, because I have something a little bit different up my sleeve here with a breath. Here's a good long breath. Maybe I'm just too close to the microphone, or I get a little excited, or hyperventilating. I've got a breath. Now, who cares, you say? And I agree. Perhaps there's only half a dozen breaths in the entire recording that you might want to actually reduce. Now, why reduce the breath is because when we get all done with editing the audio, we're going to add gain. And what we don't want is our breath to sound like some typhoon on the recording. So my favorite effect here is to go in and do a minus 10 dB cut and apply that to this breath right here. I'm going to Control Z that so I can do it again. And this time I go in, amplitude and compression, amplify. It remembers my minus 10 dB. But this time we're going to save the current effects settings as a favorite. It's going to make it even more efficient, our processing, and call this minus 10 dB cut. Click OK. And apply it once again, just like that. I have another breath. Let's just demonstrate right here. Oh, this is kind of like a compound problem. First, let's clean up the click. Hit F5 for auto heal and grab this whole breath and do a favorite. What did we call this? Minus 10 dB cut. Just like that. Now, let's go ahead. There's faster ways to do that than going into the favorites menu. Let's go into keyboard shortcuts, find favorites right there, and there's my 10 dB cut. I'm going to assign a function key. Shift F10 is my preference, and click OK. Now let's undo that editing, and now check my favorites. There it is. I can either click it in the menu or simply Shift F10 and go on to fix my next click. Oh, here's a good one. Really kind of a doozy. I might do this, kind of a nut for this, in 2 parts. Do that big one and then take a smaller part of the file here and do it again. The minimally kind of invasive approach to editing audio. Now, I've made it look easy perhaps, but setting up your function keys is going to speed up the process quite a bit. As I move through the file, I'll drop another marker just to keep track of my progress. You'll want to do that too. So you can take a break and come back in an hour or something. Take a little break because editing these clicks and breaths can be a little tedious. It's worth it. Your audience will hang in there and listen longer if you take the time to really make the audio sound great. Well, in the next episode, kind of part 3 of a 3-part series here, we're going to show you the steps to take when you're all done cleaning up these little audio faux pas. Until then, I'm Frank Peters. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.